Hey, welcome to another episode of Free Resources by Outliers Performance. Today we're going to jump into how to use the weight selector for the teams, why you would use it, and I guess the specifics of how to make things easy. So the main reason I designed this was that when you've got a lot of players and you're trying to prescribe loads by percentages, it can be quite difficult for them to look on either on charts or for them to figure out themselves. So a way which I automated this has made a nice little Excel spreadsheet, which means you can get precise loading. We also have some rough loading across the different aspects here. So the first thing, what you need to do here if you're going to prescribe that is to chuck everyone's the athlete's details in here. So the core list, what you choose to be core, will be here like so. However, keep the deadlift, squat, bench, and chin. Those are probably the main ones, and some of these assistant exercises are calculated off that, but you can change a few others if you would like. Then what you do is you decide on the conversion factor. So for a squat, I think squat's 1-to-1 with a normal squat. Then front squat, I've decided usually it's about 80% of my back squat. Whilst a single leg variant, again, I've chosen about 40% of my back squat. It's pretty conservative, but again, a rough heuristic. And again, I've chosen my Romanian deadlift is about 75% of my back squat. Then what I'll do is I would say, what percentage do I want to work at? So for example, if I'm doing 10s, 60% will probably be appropriate on my deadlifts. However, if I'm doing maybe some 4s and 3s, coming up to 85%, probably a bit more appropriate on there. So once you change the conversion factor, what you think is appropriate here, again, here's some rough guides on this page what I use. You can then choose what you would like for actually the weights itself and what percentages you want to work at. This goes across on here for the upper body pushing, all estimated of the bench. So the military press is not directly tested, but I've said it's about 50% of the bench. And same with the chins as well. Using your chin, so chin is body weight plus weight added. That's used to estimate bench pull weight and single arm rowing weight. Lastly, for this column here, we've also got ballistic power. So that's how I'd use it here. I'd say 25% of jump squat's quite a good start to start with ballistic movements. So 32k would be quite good depending on this person's 1RM. But I know some people like to go even upwards of 50%. And again, here we have some pretty big numbers here depending on what you would like to use. And when the clean and the snatch, they're directly calculated. So you would only have to change this on here. And same with the bench. I'll probably chuck that at 1. Just like so. Now the key is, as you can see, there's a lot of columns here. So when you would want to prescribe things to your athletes, you want to make it pretty simple. So the way I do this is, let's say, for example, the key exercises of the day were deadlift, single leg variant, bench, and a row. What I would do is I would actually hide all these columns. So bang, like that. So deadlift, bang, like that. And so let's say I want to maybe do, as I said, maybe some bench, and let's say a row. So let's make it simple. Just kind of 3 or 4 exercises. Let's say I want to do that single arm row, and I don't want to do any power work. Cool. So what you got besides this, what they would see is just here. You would then now have, you could print this off, you could leave this on your computer. That's what I do, I just leave it on the computer. You could then have, let's say, this athlete's me. You could then have, they could look at it pretty easily, and again, they could see quite simply what weights they have to do without kind of the big clutter of all those tables like so. However, for example, let's say you wanted to unhide all these files. You simply, what you do is you double click on, you see how there's these kind of 2 bars here. You double click on that, and that will then unhide all these things like so. And so you can easily add and throw away different types of metrics depending on how much you want to use. Again, don't worry about this. When you unhide everything, it will kind of go back to normal and it will look like as per usual. But that's just to kind of reduce the clutter, so you kind of don't have to worry about, if you just look at this intimidating table here, a lot of the athletes wouldn't use it like so. Lastly, Depending on if you have done the 1RM testing already, in my environments I do a lot of 6RM, 5RM, 3RM testing, purely because the training age of the athletes I work with. And so a good way, what I use is I use it all based off the Epley formula. So I do potentially, if I've tested before and I want to kind of chuck the weights in, I'd say, let's say this, you have to put in the weight reps and it'll give you established 1RM. So for example, let's say a mate did 80 at 5, roughly it's going to be 93 of his 1RM. And so for his chin, including his body weight, let's say he weighs 80k, he does 20k strapped to him, so it'll be 100k, and let's say he does it for 5. That will then give you the estimated 1RM. So again, this tool can be used to then chuck back into this one here, and then to calculate all the weights. Lastly, is about why I've got gold and silver here. So in my setting, and maybe in yours, not everyone does the kind of same percentage-based program. So what you can do is you can have 2 sheets. So I'll put guys in the silver and gold groups. But the gold guys will have maybe potentially more less or more aggressive percentages, or the silver will maybe potentially have something different with different volumes in that. So again, not the purpose of this is so you don't have to change things a lot, and you kind of adapt it to your environment. And again, you can add another one of these by simply just copying, creating a copy of another one and renaming it. So let's say you want to add a bronze or maybe a rehab group. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Please email me or direct message me if you have any questions. But yeah, this is kind of how I solve the problems I've had and how I can continue to be a bit more prescriptive and a bit more precise in my environment. Hope it helps, and happy training.